I have to say, episodes like these are very good for more than one reason. I mean, you can look at the couple past weeks of just absolute insanity, the meme material, and you can look at plot progression or kind of like character progression with Giordo and the kiss and things like that. But it's very easy, I think, for a show like this to fall victim of people pick their favorite character and they say that character has to win, or that character has to end up with whoever is the main love interest. In the case of the Otome game, that's Katarina. And then they don't budge from that issue. But I typically, from what I can see anyway, and this is how I feel as well, that while people have their favorite character who they root for, it's very easy to love the cast as a whole and see why they could be a good match for Katarina, and really the only one who's going to decide who ends up with who is Katarina herself. I've said it over many weeks that a pretty likely scenario in my mind is her ending up in a poly relationship with everyone, because she ain't gonna choose. But there's also an equal argument to be made she'll end up with no one and want to be a lone wolf, because, you know, Katarina is Katarina. She can love everyone, but she can't commit to one person. I could easily see that being an ending. But an episode like this, where, I mean, this season's done a great job at me rooting for Giordo. I've always liked the guy, but I've never been, like, hooting, hollering, being like, wow, this guy needs to win, because he's already engaged to her. No, but you can see the genuine love he has for her. And who does Katarina love? No one at this particular moment, so it's still up in the air who she might fall in love with. She gets flustered by people now, but we still don't know. So an episode with NICOL as an example, someone who probably the vast majority of the community isn't going to say, wow, he really seems like he's the one who's going to latch onto Katarina's heart. No, there's probably arguments to be made of different characters kind of matching better, but you can really see why he feels so strongly about her. And the fact that he has a genuine good heart of not wanting to rip away someone who's engaged to a friend of his, a very close friend. So he's trying to do his part, follow the line, try to take some marriage proposals, see someone, but every step of the way, he thinks about Katarina, because that's his true love. And when you get introduced to a character, I believe her name was Frey, absolutely love her. And I can definitely say, while you know for a fact for probably a good while, probably we won't see it ever in the anime unless we get a full adaptation. But the idea that you could probably argue there's some pretty good chemistry there and they probably could fall in love with each other, you also understand that both have very different opinions right now. One wants to be with Katarina, doesn't know how, doesn't know if it's okay, and the other wants to go enroll in a workplace that basically people are going to tell her she can't do, both of which are kind of stuck behind a rock in a hard place. But you could see the chemistry there, and I like that kind of brewing and that simmering, and of course, you get the sister dropping in saying, hey, you know, Dad stole Mom away from someone who was engaged. They said, hey, if you become Prime Minister, I'll be okay with this. And you could argue, well, there's no higher status in this kingdom than Prince Giordo, so it's not really the exact same. It does give a guy hope, and you never know, because based on how these characters are together, you definitely can see the fangs and the daggers come out when someone gets more affection than others. But if Katarina ended up saying, I actually love NICOL, and NICOL's like, hey, I love her as well, Giordo would back down. I truly feel that way, because they all are friends at the end of the day, and if there was a 100% confirmation that she felt a certain way, I don't see any of them being assholes or like trying to rip away friendships. There might be comedy at first, there might be drama at first, but they really are a big group of family and friends, just everyone wants to be that love interest for Katarina. So episodes like these, it just helps to remind you that it's okay to have your favorite character. Maybe episodes like these change your perception of who your favorite character is, or your favorite love pairing. But it reminds you why, ultimately, it's a two-way street. Just because Giordo loves Katarina, doesn't mean Katarina has to romantically love Giordo back. NICOL, same thing, like all these characters. And honestly, the more I think about it, while it's funny to think about how Katarina could end up in a poly relationship with everyone, I truly think the more realistic outcome would probably be her not ending up with anyone. Her kind of coming to the realization that she honestly cares for all of them, even though they all love her. She can't, in good nature, you know, pick one. And I feel like that could be a very satisfying ending depending on how you look at it. But that's what I like about episodes like these. And just like further fleshing out that Katarina is just a genuinely good person, even though she views herself as like tiptoeing around the fact that she's the villainess. Look at that girl who's kind of a bit nerdy, a bit pricklish, you know, she's kind of hostile in a way, but Katarina sees that as a cute charm about her when students are trying to push back against her. Katarina, while she's a harem magnet and she's that black hole, there's good reasons for people latching onto her, both in a friendship and romantic way. And that's why episodes like these, I think, are very important and really just further cement season 2 as a needed season rather than something that ruined a good ending like season 1 really did have. I mean, seriously, I love Giordo this season. I love seeing his moves. I love seeing our boy NICOL here. Like, everything about this is so well done. And honestly, with 4 more episodes left to go, I hope we see at least one more character get a similar spotlight to this. I mean, after the credits, there's some pretty sinister shit going on, so you never know what the future of Otome game might hold. But I mean, after a couple of weeks of batshit insane fun, it was nice to kind of get back to the basics of them competing, but in a way that didn't feel ham-fisted, but rather you kind of just felt like, goddamn, you really see why a character feels a certain way, which is really needed in a reverse harem like this. Like, I'm trying to think, is there any specific character I'd like to see get major spotlight before it wraps up? And honestly, no. That's kind of the interesting thing as well with this show, is that I don't really have a preferred pairing. I never really have. I mean, the most I could probably say is when Giordo made his move, and I was like, god damn, like, he's the first character who actually really cemented his feelings, and he is the engaged to her, so I'm like, you know what, I can root for this guy quite a bit, and I have been, but I don't necessarily, like, if she ended up with a certain character, I wouldn't be upset, right? If she didn't end up with anyone and decided to love herself more, I wouldn't be upset. So it's one of those things where, more so than just, like, entering this season, I was like, I wonder if there'll actually be progression. We've got way more progression than season 1 ever had, while simultaneously making me more committed to the fact that no character in this show is disposable or should be removed so we have more time to focus on X character. And I truly don't remember the last time I've ever said that about a show like this, especially what is a harem show. Like, it really is at the end of the day. Everyone loves Katarina, right? I mean, it should fall somewhere, but it doesn't. I mean, the worst thing you could probably say about this episode, I mean, they clearly had to cut some corners a couple of times. I mean, there's scenes where you focus in on the faces, there's no mouth flaps, there's plenty of wider shots where they hold on to probably longer than intended, but I mean, really, when you have gorgeous backgrounds behind them, it's kind of hard not to still say, I like that scene, even if you can recognize the animator techniques, because they were pushing closer to that deadline. So yeah, I mean, this show is great. I would definitely rank this one way up there in terms of the best episodes we've seen, probably not even just of this season of Otome game, but both seasons of Otome game. Maybe that's a little too extreme for some, but hot damn, they really make me like characters more so than I thought I ever could, but it'll be interesting. I mean, sister definitely still wants brother to end up with Katarina, brother wants to end up with Katarina, and Katarina wants to end up with the fields to make vegetables grow, and you never really know where they're going to end up. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What do you hope to see? Is there any character you wish to see an episode like this for? Definitely let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.